And details on AutoZone.com.
For This Week in Sports History, I'm JP. In 1900, James Jeffries knocks out James Corbett in 23 rounds for the heavyweight boxing title. In 1953, in his first world heavyweight title defense, Rocky Marciano knocks out former champion Jersey Joe Walcott in the first round at Chicago Stadium. In 1958, Stan Musial is the 8th player to get 3,000 hits. Musial set NL records for career hits, runs batted in, games played, at-bats, and runs scored. In 1970, Atlanta Braves' Hoyt Wilhelm pitches in his 1,000th game, losing to the Cards 6-5. Wilhelm, who fought in World War II, is 6th in MLB history, pitching in 1,070 games. In 1986, Reggie Jackson hit his 537th home run, passing Mickey Mantle into 6th place. And in 2007 PGA Players Championship TPC at Sawgrass, American Phil Mickelson wins by 2 strokes ahead of runner-up Sergio Garcia of Spain. The event played in May for the first time. That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Nick Saban has a message for us regarding the coronavirus.
First of all, I hope this message finds you and your family safe and well. On behalf of our program, we want to give thanks to all the medical professionals and caregivers in our state and across the country in these challenging times. Our daily routines have changed dramatically over these past weeks. As we have said to our team, we share the same message to all of you. Please understand the following guidelines of social distancing. We ask that everyone please wash your hands often. Stay at home if at all possible. And when you have to be out in public, make sure you keep 6 feet between you and the nearest person. We are in this together, and as one team we will get through these difficult times. And together we look forward to all that's to come, like the opportunity to play college football this fall. But the best and safest way to ensure that happens is to listen to the experts, follow their guidelines, and take care of each other. Stay safe and roll Tide.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
I thought I was too old.
I thought I was too young.
I didn't think I had what it takes.
How'd I find the time?
I went into a music store and tried some percussion. Keyboard,
guitar,
bass,
ukulele.
And before I knew it,
I could actually play a song.
why make excuses when you can make music? Just play. This message brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. Learn more at wearebroadcasters.com/hope, furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gulick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It was good to see people out there at the beach practicing social distancing, things starting to open up, getting back to normal a little bit. But remember, as we always will tell you, continue to practice social distancing during this time. Continue to wash your hands. I think it's something we should do from now on for a little while anyway. Regardless of all this, things are starting to get back to normal a little bit at a time. Of course, today, barbershops, salons can open back up. I know that's big for me. I'm glad Coach can't see my hair right now. He'd be disappointed. Got a little bit of almost a mullet going on here. But listen, as we start off our show each and every day, and we'll continue to do this, we want to thank our first responders and our healthcare workers out there. You guys have absolutely been rocking it, even with the wildfires been going on, adding more so there. It's amazing to see you guys step up. We appreciate it each and every day. I have friends of mine that are on both sides of that. Like I said, my significant other is a nurse in the local hospital here, and just the good stories that you get from people helping them out, appreciating them as well, has been fantastic. And you know what? We thank them so much. We also want to thank that our essential workers through all this. Things are starting to open back up, but you guys that listen, from grocery store workers to truck drivers, so on and so forth, you know who you are. We appreciate you guys for being open, helping us live our lives about as normal as we can during a time like this where there's so much uncertainty going on. We appreciate it so much. We thank you. We also want to thank our listeners and our sponsors. Listen, our sponsors have stuck with us through this. Sports seems that, with UFC coming back this weekend, I thought was really good to see. Other sports, NASCAR will start up this week. Teams are talking and leagues are talking about opening back up. It's good to see that right now. Listen, we're getting there, but we have to take this one step at a time. Coach, I know that you feel the same way. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, and absolutely, we always feel the same way. You bet, JP.
Absolutely. Coach, I want to get into something here. Look, we have so much to talk about in so little time today. We got a special guest joining the show as well. Bill Carr will join us. Of course, he's a former college football player, athletics administrator. Look, he played for University of Florida like you, Coach, recognized an All-American, served as an athletic director at the University of Florida and Houston, and now works as a college sports consultant. He's going to give us a lot of inside news when we talk about each and every day. When is it coming back? What's the latest story? He's going to have the lowdown for us. Going to be really excited to talk to him today.
You bet. It should be a great, great opportunity for our listeners here. And this is what we try to give as much as we can information, or get as much information as we can to our listeners about the topics of the day and what's going on in football, college, NFL, and in some high school. So I think it should be extremely interesting on the college season. There's a whole lot going on right now, JP, as you'll find out later.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. You're right. Look, Coach, I want to start off today with some of the biggest news coming out. Now, this leaked out. We're not sure who leaked it. Obviously, it seems that the Cowboys may have. Not sure what's going on. A lot of people saying, well, this can't be true. But according to this report now from Cowboys insider Mike Fisher, saying that the Cowboys are offering Dak Prescott $35 million a year over 5 seasons with $106+ million guaranteed. Now, I want to make something very clear here. The biggest contract in the league right now is, Russell Wilson making $35 million a year, so that would match the deal. Now, Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. We know what type of just player he is. Look, that Seattle Seahawks team has had depleted talent for some time, and he always seems to bring them together. He's just a tough quarterback. When you look at this, Coach, a lot of people saying there's no way this is true because Dak wouldn't turn this down. Even if it's about the years, that's a lot of guaranteed money. All these people that were on Dak's side now say if this is true, he's an idiot. There's no way it's true. There's no way it's true. Coach, have you heard anything else outside of there's this report by Cowboys insider Mike Fisher that this is what they're offering Dak? And if they're offering Dak this, could this truly be about years?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not privy to what's been offered him. I have heard a similar type story, but I'm not sure that it's all factual. I can't say it was from somebody who's had a chance to see it or know exactly what's going on there. So I think we just have to stand by and see what develops. I would agree with Stephen A. and with Marcus, that if he has been offered that, to try to hold out the 1 year less on the contract would be idiotic. So I just can't see that happening. But you never know. You know, stranger things have happened, and I just have to give have to give in to not knowing right now. I just do not know for sure, and it is puzzling to as to why he hasn't come to some type of agreement with Dallas. I don't quite understand it. I do know, and I feel this sincerely. I've said it before. I don't think that Jerry Jones really knows if he has that quarterback that he wants for the future. I think they're betwixt and between out there. I really do. So we just got to see what happens over the next couple of months. I think he has until July 15th before that has to be done. But we just have to wait to see what happens. I don't think they would feel. I'll be honest with you. I'll go a step further. I don't think they would be heartbroken if Zach doesn't end up being a quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree, Coach. I think that whole situation now, listen, Andy Dalton, Stephen Jones came out and said when they signed Andy Dalton, and a lot of people were like, oh, how dare they? They haven't even signed Dak Prescott. Stephen Jones said, listen, this is a backup situation. We're just trying to build. And Andy Dalton is a way better backup than a guy like Cooper Rush, and you got him for $3 million. So that's a pretty good steal for a guy that has the most experience when you look at a backup and what he's been able to do leading teams to the playoffs. So I think it's interesting. Stephen Jones, of course, saying before, listen, I sleep better at night now that Andy Dalton's here. And obviously, rightfully so, just in case things don't work out with Dak. Now, Dak can still sign, of course, the franchise tag. But if this offer is true, I mean, I don't know what else he wants. He probably won't make it to that 5-year, end anyway. But regardless, it's going to be interesting because that Dallas team is loaded. That's where I think that, Coach, we've talked about it, Andy Dalton could have success with a team like Dallas and what they've got built there. Good offensive line, great running back, great wide receiving core out there. The defense is young. The defense is getting better. They drafted really well. This is a team that somebody is begging somebody to take control of that division. This is not a division that's got a world beater, even in Philadelphia. They'll have a better year this year. They'll have hopefully some wide receivers healthy, but still, that's a division that is wide open right now. But, Coach, nonetheless, talking about the NFL here, there's a meeting that's going to go on in virtual fashion with the owners May 19th. Now, I ask you this just because, you know what, Coach, your opinion is big on this, talking to a lot of people, your sources as well. Of course, pass interference, the rule, they're not going to renew that. They made that clear. But they're talking about maybe something else to, insinuate that a little bit. Maybe there's something else they can do here, and they're going to talk about that. Coach, when I ask you this, because you coached back in the day when, look, it was just simple. I mean, it was. There was the instant replay wasn't really there. There was none of this complicated mess that's going on right now. But what I'm going to ask you is when you look at the officiating right now, when you look at the rules that are in place, when you look at instant replay and all, they're trying to continue to push forward for more technology in this. Do you think that's a good move for the NFL right now? Or do you think, look, getting rid of the pass interference was an obvious test that failed, that maybe people should wake up and understand the game is okay the way it is right now?
Well, I have said for a number of years that a wrong call by officials is so devastating. People don't understand. It can cost coaches their jobs, players' jobs, families, the impact on families, maybe having to move or not having an income because of an official's call. It is so devastating that if they could, and there will be mistakes, always be mistakes, but if they could come up with a way through technology, instant replay or whatever, this is back before instant replay, I would be all for it. If there's any way they could correct, some way they could correct a bad call that might put a lot of people on the street, influence the lives of numerous people, yes, you really not to want to have some way correct an injustice or a bad call, let's say, more appropriately a bad call. made honestly, but a bad call, but still has the same effect on people. So I'm all for doing that. I think with this in particular, this pass interference call last year was hurried into, and they had too many loopholes there. The officials didn't really know what they were supposed to call. I really felt in many cases when a flag came out on a pass interference call, they didn't know whether they called it right or wrong. Then early in the season, I think they tried to make a point that the officials were right because they never overturned anything. Then they started overturning. I don't know, and I don't think they knew what the heck they were supposed to call and how they were supposed to call it. So I think it's good that they got rid of that because that was causing a lot of problems. But as far as instant replay, I think instant replay is good. You just have to continue to refine it from a time standpoint, and anything else that will maybe add to a correction of a bad call, I'm all for it.
Coach, I agree. We've talked about this a lot, and seeing the other side of it, coaching when there was a lot less technology. Technology has benefited a lot. Now, when you talk about robot umpires for Major League Baseball, that's insane to me. But talking about instant replay, I think it is, look, it's corrected a lot of things. You've gotten the call right. Now, they don't always get it right. Even with video, you still can't get that perfect angle sometimes. Sometimes, you know what, there's too many guys in a pile-up or whatever it may be, but it has made the game a lot better. This pass interference rule, I agree. Nobody knew what to call. I mean, there was contact on pretty much every single play, which is obviously why there was a challenge flag thrown to this, but guys weren't sure. When you look at the rule, it's confusing, but I'm glad it's gone personally. It caused more of a headache than just not having the rule at all. But, Coach, we got to go to a break. When we come back, Bill Carr's going to join us. It's going to be exciting to hear what he's got to say as he joins us right here. Now, he is a consultant for college football. He's going to have a lot of news for us, a lot of insight that we have been waiting on, including myself, Coach. So it's going to be a lot of fun to talk to him. We're going to have him when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola. What's up, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, no sports to talk about. March Madness canceled, every major sport, so maybe you get to spend some more time around your family. Oh, what? Not supposed to touch anybody? Well, just go home and watch Price is Right. But if you are older, you have a better chance of getting it. Right, Mike Gundy? Oh, 40? You should be all right. And he won't be broadcasting sports, but one guy that feels the same way we all do with no sports, probably Joe Buck.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness.
Sports Drive 5 to 7 with no sports.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well, staying safe, and continue to practice social distancing. We're starting to move forward, but we do not want to go backwards. So just continue doing what you got, which got us to this point at this time. Listen, Coach, I know we got a special guest with us. Bill Carr joins us now. Of course, he's a tremendous friend of yours, former college football player, athletics administrator, played for the University of Florida, was an All-American, athletic director. The list goes on and on. Now he's a college sports consultant. A lot of good information coming our way. Coach, I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
Well, yes, indeed. And that's just a brief rundown on Bill. Of course, many people from here in this area remember Bill when he was All-American high school player at Pensacola High, a teammate of mine at Pensacola High School. And then, of course, he went on to the University of Florida, 3-year starter, All-American there. And later became the athletic director at Florida, University of Florida, University of Houston. And he just has a tremendous job right now. I call it a job. He has a company, and they deal with college presidents, commissioners with different conferences, coaches, athletic directors, you name it. Bill's kind of on the inside of college athletics. And as everybody realizes, we talk from week to week. One of the big topics of conversation is, are we going to have football this year? And I want to take just a little bit of time to preface this with Bill, because we're going to get some outstanding information on college football today that we really haven't gotten so far. But as far as the NFL on the surface, even though there would have to be extended testing and so on, but there's a good chance that NFL teams could play given certain criterion as to stadiums, but they could play in a sterile situation without fans. It's a TV game. They play on TV, high-end sound, and have the commentators on there. You probably wouldn't know much difference. It's different in college, and we've had, I noticed today in the paper, gosh, we've got everybody now joining in on the problems with college football. You've got everybody from Mark Emmett saying that the NCAA saying that without students on campus, there'll be no football, there'll be no sports. You got college presidents talking, you got governors of different states having a different opinion, coaches with different, everybody's got an opinion on how college football will or will not be played. I think it's the most confusing thing right now that I've ever associated with in sports. But having said all that, Bill, I thank you for coming on and see if you can give us a little insight as to what is going on in college football.
Well, Kay, thank you very much for the invitation to join you today. It's always an honor to be with you again in our center-quarterback relationship that started so many years ago there at PHS. I remember those days with such fondness and cherish them. Truly, I do, with all our old teammates and chance to be a PHS Tiger. That's where it all started, and we're grateful. Actually, I guess it started at Brentwood Junior High for me, but I know you were a clubs guy, so we go back a long time ago. But thank you so much. And yes, the whole issue of football as a sport and its impact on American society today is profound. It truly is. And something like this COVID virus and causing us to shut down and not be able to be certain about a college football season come up is it's just unthinkable. But there again, there are so many aspects of the COVID pandemic that are uncertain and unprecedented. And you said it well, Kay, is that it's beyond anything we've ever experienced. And the level of unknowns is so great that it's difficult to truly fathom that in reality. But again, let me just confirm what you said, is that the colleges and universities are very much hoping and planning on being able to function this fall with a college football season, and that means they'd be providing in-person services in the fall on campus with residential service and also in-person educational classroom setting. The Chronicle of Higher Education has recently is doing a tabulation of how many schools have declared that, Kay, and that publication, which follows the whole life of universities and colleges, indicates that approximately 3/4 of campuses in the United States are planning on opening. But planning on opening and being able to do so is a whole different setting. I know you can agree with that.
Well, that's true, and there's no doubt about it. But you know, when we're looking at something bigger here than just playing a game this fall, Bill, and really, if you go back to World War II, and FDR mandated that they play baseball. They did not give up baseball because of the war. He needed it for this mental well-being of the country. And I think that now it's football. If you pull football away from this country, either one, but certainly both, it would be disastrous. So I don't think they can allow that to happen. They got to find some way, somehow, they're going to play. I think easier said than done, but and it is easier for the NFL to begin play than it would be for colleges because of all the issues that we've already alluded to, and everybody's getting involved in it. Now, you can read where governors talking about whether their states would allow it and so on. That's just, it's getting ridiculous, really. So I think you got to have, at some point, everybody's got to get together and have an edict from someone that this is the way we're going to play, and these are the rules under which we're going to play. And I really think that's the answer. Now, what those rules and stipulations are, most of us can give some guesses to, but somebody's got to have to really put the pieces together here in a fairly short period of time.
Well, the universities are planning to open, as I mentioned, and we certainly hope and pray that that's the case. And but the reality is, because we know so little about this particular virus, at least as I understand the setting at this moment, and the most unique aspect of this, Kay, in my judgment, it appears is simply that there is, quite often we don't know the answer to a challenge that we're facing as an organization or as an individual or as a group of individuals. And there's someone who has the knowledge that we need, and we simply haven't been able to break through to that person or that private source or that indication, the wisdom, the factual data that can drive a appropriate decision. But it appears that in this case there is no single human being in the world that has that esoteric, specific knowledge that will tell us what is going to happen, when, and how. That is simply, it is such an unknown of an epic proportion that is literally worldwide. I feel foolish even saying it because that sounds like such an absurdity, but I have found nothing to the contrary that would speak to the issue we're discussing here now that would indicate that there is a source of the knowledge about how to handle this. And so therefore, it puts all of us at a point of vulnerability and uncertainty that all we can do is plan for the best circumstance and hope that that occurs and that the worst doesn't occur. In fact, the definition, there's an AP story today. I don't know if our listeners have seen it, but there are a couple of points in there that I feel like it is very poignant to share here. An AP article about the University of Minnesota's football program, Kay. They have at the University of Minnesota, of course, which is in the Big Ten, a very strong Power 5 program, has a budget of $123 million in their athletic department, which, even though that's a high number, it's number 8 in ranking within the Big Ten. That tells you a great deal about the other schools like Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State, who have budgets even in excess of that $123 million that Minnesota has. But as Minnesota looks ahead, they've done calculations for 3 potential scenarios for how football would affect their income for the next year, for academic year, and therefore fiscal year 20-21, if you will, that if they are able to have a regular football season, playing their regular season, they would still lose, they calculate, $10 million off of their projected revenues for next year. Simply because of reduced attendance and lesser revenue streams, they would anticipate a loss of $10 million of what they were projecting for the football season in the 2020 season. But if they were able to have a scenario where they could have the games but without fans and be able to televise the games, they would only lose $30 million because they could make $45 million off of the television. So their mid-best scenario, if you will, is still going to result in a loss of $30 million according to their astute calculations. And they know their business, and therefore they have made that projection on reasonable assumptions, I assume. However, if the worst case scenario happens for them, Kay, at Minnesota with no football season whatsoever, no television, they would lose $75 million at Minnesota this coming football season. Can you imagine that kind of loss of revenue in a budget? That is what? That is 3/5 of their budget. That is 3/5 of their budget at the University of Minnesota if they don't play their football season in the 20 season. That's amazing.
That is amazing. Well, and talking with some people that have been involved on the inside in the NFL, they're going through different scenarios, if you will, different options that they may have, depending on the where the virus is at that point and what they're going to be allowed to do and what would be safe to do. But they're looking at everything going from best case, where they want to begin to play just like their schedule came out the other day, and begin to play on time in September with at least a 4-week, no preseason games. The preseason games are out, but they may only have 2 to 3 weeks to get ready. And these coaches that are saying 8 weeks to get ready, they better get their time frames squared away, because that's not going to be the case. But if they can't do it in September, then they've got it moving back to shorten down season, but starting in October and moving everything at a slightly shortened down season and moving the Super Bowl back accordingly. And then even the third one that I'm privy to that I've heard is a November start with moving everything back and collapsing. If you notice in their schedule, they have no inter-division games in weeks 3 and 4. So they could collapse weeks 3 and 4 very easily and start with the 1 and 2 there where 3 and 4 would be weeks for the schedule. So they have that's what they're looking at now. But that's looking at the different options from worst case to best case, and I'm sure worst case would be that they can't play, but they can't see that happening. I can't see that happening.
Well, they are hoping for the best, but I think I may have seen that article, and I agree that is some compelling information. But I believe that the statement that the White House expert on coronavirus makes about every situation, and I have the impression that he made it about football for this fall. Dr. Fauci, Anthony Fauci, said that the virus will make the decision for us. And yeah. I hate to admit that that's true, but my word, look at all the pain and agony and misfortune that so many Americans and people throughout the world have suffered in this circumstance, and the virus has made every one of those decisions. And I regret to say that I think it'll continue to do that until it has run its course, and we'll just have to do the best we can to be safe and prudent in how we move forward. And I'm really hoping that some of those things might occur in more fortuitous ways. And I'm also hoping that as we go forward, we'll be more prudent than the reports this morning. Kay, you probably saw about the UFC, the fighting group, and they staged their event last night. Their first one that was a limited contact, but the way they conducted it was far from being a good example of appropriate protocol, and they broke a lot of the different admonitions and requirements that they were supposed to follow about social distancing and wearing masks and things at times when they could do so. They didn't set a good example for us, and I'm sorry to see that happen. I can't say that I follow the UFC very closely, but they are getting a whole lot of attention right now because they're unique in the United States at conducting an event. And from what I understand, they didn't do it very effectively last night. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I agree. I'm on the same page with you at the UFC. But that is unfortunate. I got the article you sent me about Dr. Fauci, and it is a very interesting article. People have to realize that they're talking, in order to do this NFL, let's say NFL, with no people in the stands and in sterile stadiums, they still have to check all the players, coaches, ancillary participants. They'd have to check them at least twice a week. You're talking about a tremendous number of tests that would have to be done weekly. And let's say that your quarterback Brady is positive. Well, then he's in quarantine for 14 days, and he's gonna miss 2 games. So anyway, there's still a lot to it, but I think I really think we'll find a way. We will get through this, and maybe we'll be stronger on the other side. So let's chalk it up to that. Be positive and move forward.
Yes, I agree, Kay. we have to be astute. We have to be very smart in how we handle it, and we have to work together, and we have to be patient. And then that's very, very difficult when our livelihoods are at stake. So many folks, especially those in the service industry, and that includes sports, because that's what athletes, professional athletes, are out there providing a service, if you will. You really can't be an athlete in isolation per se, because it requires teamwork, it requires training, it requires support services. So we are experiencing that in our small space of the college game, and also in the pro sports here in the United States. But we just have to keep our focus on the right things, and hopefully it'll all work out.
You betcha. Listen, Bill, taking a lot of your time. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And maybe a little later on, we get a little later on down the way, we'll have you back on, and we'll talk about what it looks like when things that we have a little better picture.
Very well. Well, thank you so much, Kay, and my best wishes to all the good people there in Pensacola and Escambia County. Best wishes. Have a great day.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill Carr right there. Great hearing him talk about, listen, he's a college sports consultant. He's in these war rooms talking about how we're going to come back and if we can come back and things like that. Great to hear his voice. Great to hear his insight as well, as always. Look, it may not be what you want to hear, but the thing is that we still have plenty of time in all this. And with Dr. Fauci saying, listen, the virus will make that decision, don't let that scare you. Let's understand something, that the virus has been making decisions in general, and we're making our way back. We're getting good news moving forward. People are going to get sick. It's the flu, people get sick. I'm not comparing this to the flu. I don't want to stir up any controversy here, but people will get sick. People are going to continue to get sick, and it's trying to learn how to prevent this the best way possible. But, nonetheless, we're moving forward right now. Like Coach has mentioned plenty of times, we got to stay positive on this side and move forward. That's all we can do right now during this time. So, you know what? Continue doing what you're doing. Continue doing what you've been practicing this entire time, and we'll get there. We are going to get back to normal. That is a fact. There's no doubt about it. Now, we may do things a little bit differently from here on out, but you know what? If anything, I think we've learned how important washing our hands is. So, listen, we're up against a break here. When we come back, we've got plenty to talk about. We're going to talk about the Syracuse Orange as we continue to break down a college team. We're also going to talk a little bit more about what Dr. Fauci said and some more interesting NFL news, and also the top 10 NFL offenses. Bucky Brooks dropping a list there. Interesting after the post-draft. Get your take on it, Coach, as well, right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Parents, good news! Help is here for your child's educational success. Sylvan Learning Center in Pensacola and Shalimar is excited to announce they are open and have amped up their standards to keep students and families safe and healthy. At a time like now, we know a lot of families have been struggling. Sylvan can help. Call Sylvan Learning Center today and let them help you make sure your kids don't fall behind. Call Sylvan Learning Center today at 1-800-EDUCATE to make sure they are ready to start the next school year strong.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. Hope everybody is doing well, having a good day, practicing social distancing. Hope everybody had a great weekend as well. Like I said, look, good to see people at the beach practicing social distancing. Good to see businesses starting to open back up. Of course, Florida approving barbershops and salons can open today as well. It's a good sign for me. My hair can only get so much longer at this point. Coach, I know you'd be disappointed in it. But nonetheless, listen, we're talking about the 2019 Syracuse Orange. Now, we're talking about the 2020, but going back to 2019, this is a team, Coach, that had a lot of aspirations, going 10-3, winning the Camping World Bowl down there, doing a great job. Dino Babers, exactly what he was brought in to do. I can't imagine how tough it is to recruit in a place like Syracuse. You get to play in a cool dome, but nonetheless, outside of that, just the talent that's around you. You know, the Big Ten is snatching all the talent away, but Syracuse being in the ACC, of course, last year going 5-7. That does not make you bowl eligible, obviously. But as a team offensively that averaged about 28 points, which was about 70th in college football, and gave up about 30, which was 88th in college football. It's interesting when you look at this team. Before we get into a little bit of a breakdown with them, I want to go over their schedule real quick. Look, they play at Boston College to open up the season, and then again right there in Piscataway, New Jersey to take on Rutgers, which will be interesting to see that team this year. Then back home for a game against Colgate. Then on the road to Kalamazoo, always fun to say that, to take on Western Michigan, and back home to take on the up-and-coming Louisville Cardinals, again to host the Liberty Flames, and then on the road right there in Death Valley, which will be extremely tough with the Clemson Tigers. Back home for a game against Georgia Tech, on the road at Wake Forest, back home for a couple of games against NC State and Florida State, and then on the road right there to take on the Pitt Panthers at Heinz Field. So when we look at this team, of course, going 5-7 last year, we know that's not going to cut it. Listen, Dino Babers is a guy that I like a lot. He's got over 40 years coaching experience. And for people to say, well, listen, he went 4-8 at Syracuse, then he went 10-3, and now he's 5-7. I just think that I have all the respect for Dino Babers. I just think it's so tough. That just speaks to how extremely tough it is to recruit there in Syracuse. Now, look, they got a bunch of new coaches on staff. They're installing a 3-3-5 defense. Look, Zach Arnett came from San Diego State. We see guys, we see Coach Babers trying to get guys over here to Syracuse to install to continue to grow this program. Dino Babers has had other offers, but he wants to build this program here. Now, we'll see how long that takes. For people questioning, is he for real? Well, he did a pretty good job at Eastern Illinois and Bowling Green as well. I know those aren't top-tier programs, but we know he's a great coach. Look, here's another thing, Coach, when we look at this. Quick things about the team. Tommy DeVito is coming back. Now, this is a guy that had 19 touchdowns last year at the quarterback position and had a completion percentage almost 64%. Now, it's a little bit of a rough and tumble style. Their offensive line was kind of horrendous when you look at it last year. DeVito's a pretty good player, but they're going to have a lot of newcomers on this squad. Offensively, well, they've got a few guys coming back like Jarvion Howard. Look, Jawar Jordan is a guy that is a big prospect for him coming out of high school, but we'll see if he can get his feet wet this year. I think he's going to be an instant impact, and that's not necessarily a good thing with this team and what they have. But the question comes down to defense. Look, they're having to replace two of the best defensive linemen in the ACC, and yes, they were on Syracuse last year, Kendall Coleman and Alton Robinson. Those guys are gone. Now they got a new host of linebackers, a couple starters in the secondary are coming back, the defense going to a 3-3-5. Coach, when you look at this team here, a couple questions. What's your thoughts about Syracuse moving forward? And then my other question as well is, when you're changing a defense at a high level, now I know what it, in high school what it takes and things like that. It's not necessarily as hard, but changing a defense to a 3-3-5 or whatever scheme, how tough is that schematically and for the players moving forward?
Well, it's different. Anytime something's different, it requires an additional twist on the language. And that in itself is a little different because you got so many communication pieces in football. But overall, it's you have to make changes like that, and I'm sure that's going to be probably best tailored to the types of recruits that they're getting in there. So you have to give them the benefit of the doubt there. Now, as far as Syracuse is concerned, of course, they had that outstanding 2018 season. Really should have beaten Clemson up there. Could have very easily. So they had their problems last year, and I'm sure there are a number of reasons for it. What you have to look at as a whole with Syracuse is there's a lot of tradition there. And there's quite a bit to be said for having tradition, like Mayor Bryant said, that having a school having tradition meant an awful lot in the way of having a winning, providing a winning program. And they have a lot of tradition there, going back to Jim Brown and Ernie Davis, you name it. I mean, so many players that had come out of there, Walt Sweeney, it goes on and on and on. So Syracuse has had quite a bit of success over the years. At one time, I think they won a national championship. I'm not sure what year that was. It's quite a while back, but I think they did win a national championship. So they have tradition. It is a difficult place to recruit to, JP, but it's a unique place to recruit to. There around Syracuse is a beautiful area of the country, and it's quite a rabid football fan base right around that Syracuse area, and it stretches out both east and west in the state of New York. So that is the premier college football program in the whole state. So there's a lot going on there that we don't really realize, but having said all that, it is still very, very difficult when you have to compete against the Clemsons and the Florida States and the Miamis, and it's just extremely difficult. And I think it's going to be tough for them to better their record. They won 5 last year. I think if they win 6, 7 ball games, it'd be one heck of a year. I would say they'd probably be around 5 or 6 wins again.
Yeah, Coach, I look at that, and the schedule's pretty tough. And, look, 1959 is when Syracuse won that championship with Ernie Davis at the running back position there you were talking about. And this is something that, that was a question that was asked to me as well. Well, Coach, you coached in Buffalo. You understand how things are up north up there when you talk about the Northeast. A lot of people saying, well, you know what, nobody really cares about, football up in that way. Well, I disagree. I agree with you on Syracuse and the tradition that they have. Listen, this is one of the most historic teams when you really break it down in football. Interesting to see, though. It's a team that it's tough. I think it's not about just because team doesn't win a football game has nothing to do with the tradition and has nothing to do with the fan base. This is a chaotic fan base. When you get them in that Carrier Dome, it's loud. And you're right. They should have beat Clemson in 2018. They had them on the ropes, and they couldn't finish them off so close. And you saw what Clemson did in 2018. So this is a team that, you know what, getting bowl eligible is a big-time plus. I like Dino Babers a lot, but this is, a new regime coming in on the coaching staff. They're relying a lot on a young staff offensively. Now, we'll see if Tommy DeVito can take them to the promised land. But nonetheless, Coach, this is a team that it's a tough road no matter what division you're in. But listen, we're up against a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about NFL's top 10 offenses were ranked after the draft, of course. Bucky Brooks releasing a list here, going through position for position. We'll get your take on it, Coach. And listen, 850-623-1330. If you disagree with us, let us know. We'd love to hear from you right there, opening up the phone lines. All that and more coming back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight, and we will beat this pandemic.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. We're talking some football with you as always, and we're going to talk about the NFL's top offenses right here. Now, NFL.com releasing the list. Coach, interesting here. This is post-draft, of course. Start with the #1 team here. I don't think it's a big surprise at all. Can't say I argue with it either. The Kansas City Chiefs. Now, of course, they give each position a grade here. The quarterback position is an A+. Hard to argue that with Patrick Mahomes. The backfield gets an A- with, of course, Damian Williams right there. Then adding Clyde Edwards-Helaire along with scatback DeAndre Washington and Darwin Thompson. Pretty good-looking squad. Receiving core A+. Once again, when you look at these guys and what they did in the Super Bowl against the NFL's leading defense, and it's not even close. I mean, for people that say, well, yeah, that defense wasn't very good. See, they got exposed. No, they were really good. It's just Kansas City was just in the right moment. They came through. And when you look at it, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins is coming back. Mecole Hardman is a young cat that he is making his way. Ricky Seals-Jones, a little bit of depth there at the tight end position, and also a guy that can block. And then the offensive line gets a B. Now, the offensive line doesn't have to be as good, but they were a pretty solid bunch up front. So, Coach, do you have any argument when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs as the best offense in the NFL?
Oh, they have so much speed and skill, really. You know, with those receivers, they made some outstanding catches as well as being able to, the big thing is they catch the ball 2 yards deep or catching the backfield and break it for 80 yards for a touchdown. They're just extremely talented, very, very fast. And I have to kind of go along right now with Kansas City. Yeah.
Yeah, Coach, moving on to number 2 here. Look, the Baltimore Ravens, a lot of indecision, personally, just for me. The quarterback position got an A+. Now, I think this is solely going off of understanding that teams are not going to be able to stop this offense. But, listen, my Titans, I thought, did a fantastic job in the divisional round of showing how to stop that offense. So when I look at this, Coach, you've mentioned before, look, Lamar Jackson had a great year last year, but how long can they keep this whole charade up? I don't think they can. I think there's a lot of good film there, and I know that they added, look, the backfield's good. Mark Ingram is fantastic. J.K. Dobbins, the back out of Ohio State, adding him in the draft is just a solid move right there. And the receiving core, they still have Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown, guys that when you look at their receiving core, they're not big-name guys. Miles Boykin, Willie Snead, Devin Duvernay, Chris Moore, James Prochet, Nick Boyle. They're guys that you're like, okay, I guess this is a good team. But it's the style offense that they run. Coach, you've mentioned it before. I personally think this year that the Ravens are being hyped up extremely high this year. I really don't see it happening like it did last year. I think teams are going to make those changes like the Titans did in the divisional round where, you know what, when Lamar got backed up toward the red zone, he made interceptions. He threw interceptions, and it wasn't even, you can have your yards, but when you get in here, we're going to force you in a tight window, and you're not going to be able to make the play. I see that more happening to the Ravens this year.
Well, I do too. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And having this year to prepare for him, it was somewhat of an anomaly last year, having to play Baltimore, because it was a single-wing football team and playing in the National Football League. Now, that can't last. You cannot have a running back playing the quarterback position in the National Football League. You can in college. But, and I even say that that's still taking a chance in college, but in the National Football League, you can't do that. And I think that, be one-dimensional like that, and then you can make it even more one-dimensional if you slow rush the quarterback and make him throw from the pocket, and don't let him out there. As best you can, he's an extreme athlete, and he's gonna break some of that down and get loose on you. But for the most part, if you can force him to stay in there and make decisions downfield, throwing the football from the pocket, I think you're going to have success. It's just like last year. How far did they get in the playoffs? You're talking about a team the commentators could keep their mouths shut about what a great football team this was and how they're revolutionizing the National Football League. And how far did they get in the playoffs?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Coach. It's a team that was extremely hyped up. And you know what? It was fun to watch, but it was something that people like you said it would not last. And, look, the Titans did a fantastic job. And, look, we'll get more into that tomorrow. A lot of interesting insight there. But, Coach, that sound means it's time for us to go. We didn't get to everything we wanted to, but you know what? We'll get to it tomorrow. But it's been a pleasure, Coach.
You bet. Look forward to it, JP, as always.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, listen, we appreciate our listeners tuning in today as well. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEVY, Milton, Pensacola.
First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. I'm Jason Fitz. Start the hour with some headlines you got to know. Tony Ferguson suffered a fractured orbital bone in his UFC 249 loss. So the UFC president Dana White first revealed the injury to Yahoo Sports. The injury, sources say, will require surgery, but that surgery has not yet been scheduled. He was discharged from a Jacksonville, Florida hospital early Monday morning. That was the only major injury he suffered in the fight, which saw him take a lot of damage for almost 5 rounds. Kind of stunning that that's the only major injury, but that's a heck of a major injury. Next up on the headlines you need, coronavirus impact. The Premier League at least is attempting to get to a restart. The UK government has set a June 1st date. They've released a 50-page document titled very succinctly, Our Plan to Rebuild the UK Government's COVID-19 Recovery Strategy. No doubt what that is. It also includes, quote, permitting cultural and sporting events to take place behind closed doors for broadcast while avoiding the risk of large-scale social contact. If a number of conditions relating to limiting the spread of the virus can be met, then there's at least a path. If you missed our interview last hour, we did some good deep dive on the Premier League and some of the challenges that they're facing particularly, but at least there's a guideline to try and get them back. And speaking of guidelines, Dr. Anthony Fauci has spoken out. The NFL season will depend on several varying factors, according to Dr. Fauci. He talked to NBCSports.com and said, frankly, that the safest way for anything to happen would be to test everybody Saturday night, Sunday morning, and say, okay, only negative players play. I cannot imagine the impact that would have to gambling lines, to fantasy football, and to the NFL as a whole when suddenly the morning of you find out that half the league's starting quarterbacks may or may not be available that day to play. So those are the headlines you need to know. First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, ESPN News. We're asking you guys to chime in. What athlete do you want to see crossover, play a different sport, and what sport do you want to see them play? A little fun based on, obviously, The Last Dance, giving us a peek behind Michael Jordan and his baseball career. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. That's how you can get in on the fun. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776.